So high, a short Dvar Torah for Parashat HaaZinu. What's the highest country in the world? This question is a difficult question to answer for several reasons. How do you measure the height of a country? From its peak, like mountains are measured, or maybe by average? The truth is that measuring mountains isn't that straightforward either. What's the highest mountain in the world? Well, every child knows the answer is Mount Everest, but this is only true when measuring above sea level, 8,849 meters. If we were to measure from the base to the summit, it would be overtaken by Mauna Kea, 10,210 meters, of which only 4,205 are above water. Or if instead we were to measure from the equator, measuring the distance from the Earth's core, both are overtaken by Mount Chimborazo, which sits on the thickest spot of the oval-like shaped planet Earth. What we know for a fact is that neither Everest, which is between China and Nepal, nor Mauna Kea in Hawaii, or Chimborazo in Ecuador, are in Eretz Yisrael, which calls into question the statement of the midrash that Eretz Yisrael is higher than all other countries. Before I try to understand the meaning behind the midrash, it's worth noting that there are several verses in the Tanakh which the commentators refer to the height of the land of Israel. Today, I refer specifically to the source in Parashat HaaZinu. The next step is to understand how one learns from the words Yarkiveu al Bamoti Aretz that the land of Israel is higher than all other lands. And here are three possibilities in reverse chronological order. Rashbam says the word Bama means an elevated place. Therefore, the land of Israel, aka Bamoti Aretz, is the highest of all countries. Rashi says Yarkivehu, because the land of Israel is higher than all other lands. From this source, it seems that Rashi is referring to the term yarkiv, that is, to climb upon the back of an animal. I must point out that this is only one of Rashi's interpretations. Later, Rashi will point out that Bamoti Aretz means height, but this is what I understood from attaching the first interpretation to the word yarkivehu. Third, Midrash Sifrei says, this is the land of Israel, which is higher than all other lands, as it says, Alo na'ale v'yarashnu, v'ya'alu v'yaturu et ha'aretz, v'ya'alu b'negev. In other words, the Midrash does not learn from the two relatively unusual words, Bama and Hirkiv, but rather from the almost imperceptible word al, which means above or on. I'm sure there's something very deep and meaningful to learn from the source of each one of the commentaries, but I'm not sure what that meaningful and deep thing is. I will also point out that most of the commentators focused on Rashbam's word, each giving a slightly different interpretation of how this height is expressed in practice. This confused me and demanded that I reorganize them somehow, and here is the result before you. Onkelos explained that this was about the strength of the land, leading to the following interpretations by other commentators. God set them high places like a bama, a platform, and over their enemies' fortresses. This is according to Rabbi Yosef Bechol Shor, so that they could defend themselves easily. Shadal, or above the ministers, and thus they ruled over what the ministers themselves had previously ruled. This is Chizkuni. What's interesting about these interpretations is that they're written using identical words, at least Rabbi Yosef Bechol Shor and Chizkuni, aside from a single difference. While Bechol Shor used the language of the verse and says that they ruled over the fields of the lands, Tnuvot Sadai, Chizkuni omitted the end of the Daled and wrote Sarei Haaretz, which is the ministers. The principle is the same, but the literal meaning changes because of this tiny difference. Ibn Ezra explains that the land of Israel is high like Mount Chimborazo is high, meaning the one sitting on the equator, because the land of Israel is the center of the world. From there, the globe curves downwards. When the known world mainly consisted of Mesopotamia, Israel probably was also the political world center, and everything stemmed from there. In Ibn Ezra's time, however, it may have been necessary to redefine this in more spiritual terms, as cited by Yalkut Shimoni. Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch claims that a high place is called a bama only if used as a springboard to attain a higher goal. Therefore, the land will serve as a bama if we know how to use it to aspire higher and achieve these aspirations. Rabbi Ovadia Sforno says something similar yet different when he says that entering the land was another opportunity to receive the Torah, which Bnei Israel did not receive properly in the desert. And finally, here are two economic interpretations. The first is by Tzor Amor, who says that the mountainous nature of the land of Israel is a natural disadvantage, for mountains don't yield abundance, and yet, Vayochal Nuvot Sadai, the natural disadvantage of the land of Israel is negated and can only prove that Hashem is always watching and gives everything that can be asked for. The Netziv, on the other hand, explains that the mountain's purpose is to make sure that Bnei Yisrael don't become traders, which leads to a love of money and sinat chinam. How do the mountains solve this problem? Simple. They provide enough food to make a decent living without trading, but require hard work, leaving no time or need to engage in the horrendous trade. So what did we have today? Language, politics, geography, economy, and values? Just another day in the life of a Tanakh teacher. I am Dovi Holtz, one who loves Tanakh.